Today, guys, we're gonna react to Greg's reaction to C-Bum's top 10 exercises that Athlete X did as well too. So I'm just gonna kill 3 birds with 1 stone and react to this video and give you guys my 2 cents on what I feel about Chris Bumstead's top 10 exercises. Let's dive into it.
A close grip flat bench. Different part of the chest and triceps.
Okay. Yeah. Next up, a close grip flat bench press. Remember, this is for Chris. He loves this exercise. Jeff Cavalier, not a fan of this exercise. He made the same video saying, not a fan of it.
First time I'm going to disagree.
Remember, this is Chris's favorite top 10 exercises for all time. And so although I'm not as big of a fan as the close grip bench press, as a wider grip bench press, I do think the bench press should be on the list. How can you have a top 10 list without the bench press being on it?
So I think to make things clear here, I think there's a little confusion from both Athlete X and Greg. Chris is naming his top 10 exercises, and I'm pretty sure that his incline pressing was his favorite movement or top 10 for chest development. And I can agree with that. There's a bunch of studies done that if you're trying to build your chest to get it nice and big and large from here, because it's a lot of places where a lot of people are not developed that good at the chest. And if you do incline presses, it's going to hit all the other heads as well too. You're just gonna load a little bit differently at the top, and you're gonna get a lot more growth at the top as well too. When it comes to chest movements, incline was his preference. Now when it comes to this movement, I'm assuming more that Chris is talking about a tricep movement, a tricep exercise for him. And his tricep exercise is close grip press. For me, I think that's a great movement as well too. Now he's doing close grip free weight bench. I'm gonna go close grip Smith machine. That's what I like the most when it comes to loading the muscle. You can load the muscle a lot in a Smith machine. You're a lot more safer, and you can take it for a spin easier than doing a barbell press, a barbell close grip press. Again, we're talking about it being safe, easier to feel, and everyone can do it. Smith machine, close grip all day for me. But I can definitely agree on that movement pattern. Again, guys, think of this entire video as Chris's favorite movements, but again, Chris's favorite exercises, but again, they're movement patterns. All of these exercises, you guys can tweak for yourselves. They don't have to be the exact same things that your Mr. Olympia is doing.
Dumbbell curl.
Supinated, again, this is the only one that you're gonna get. Are you seated, are you standing?
Standing. Supinated.
And next up, he chooses another biceps exercise. Chris Bumstead himself has very weak biceps, and so clearly he's going to have a specific exercise to target this. Remember, he already stated the neutral grip chin-up so that he could work at both his lats as well as his biceps, but he's going to do standing supinated, as in you can hold a cup of soup, like so, supinated dumbbell curls.
So I like the movement. Like I said, I just did a video right here, guys. Check it out on dumbbell mistakes people make. And like I said, I was in that video saying, man, the dumbbells for biceps are amazing. Just connect with it the right way in terms of picking the right load, and then the movement pattern that you enjoy the best. So circling back to his first movement, or one of his top movements, was the pull-up neutral. The pull-up neutral, think about this. The pull-up neutral is similar to doing a hammer curl. So what's going to be involved with that? The entire bicep, as well as the brachioradialis, which is this part of the arm here, that nice forearm here. When you do pictures like here, and you're like, hey, what's up, guys? Hey, you're like, hey, man, nice to see you. When you do one of these things, like this guy right here, that's what you want, right? You're gonna get that from doing hammer curls or neutral grip pull-ups. When it comes to the bicep itself, supinated, great exercise to do. Again, movement pattern. You can do supinated barbell, you can do easy bar curls, right? Same idea, but for me, again, I'm agree with Chris in this one. I love doing that. My 2 movements I'm going to do, mainly gonna be a hammer curl with dumbbells, and then a alternating or unilateral or bilateral hammer supinated curl, right? Twisting the pinky and pulling it up. Not twisting all the way, I'm not saying that. What I mean by is actively going into a supinated position, coming back down, and then going right back down to base, and making sure that we're supinating up. Again, the bicep does help with supination. So when you're actually supinating when you're pulling, you're doing what the biceps is tended to do: supination and elbow flexion.
I think you've got 3 left.
I have 3 left. Think what parts of the body I'm missing right now.
Calves.
Oh,
Cook.
there's no calves in there.
And the harsh reality is if you have to choose 10 exercises, you may or may not want to include the calves. Not going to make a significant difference of total muscle on the body. Remember, the goal is to have the most amount of muscle possible. How big are your calves? Whether you train your calves every single day for the rest of your life, is it going to make a significant difference in the amount of muscle mass you carry? I don't think so. Calf is such a small muscle, and does it really matter all that much? Oh yeah, it matters in board shorts category, men's physique. Does it really? How many people, when you think of bodybuilders, envision, oh, a guy with such enormous calves? And so because this is Chris's list, he doesn't have to train calves. If you don't want to train calves, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There you go. So when it comes to calves, yes, guys, I agree with Greg. I think like much like every other muscle group on your body, is genetic, right? So my calves, I feel like, have been the same size forever. I don't hardly ever train calves. I don't. I'm be honest, you guys. I do not train calves. I do not train calves. It's not even like intentionally I don't train calves. I am on a stepper all the time, and I'm always plantar flex. Anybody watches me do stepper, stairmaster, I'm on my toes the entire time. That's the only calf work I get. And to be honest, if you think about it, if I'm doing 45 minutes of cardio a day, you know, off season, 20 minutes, right? I'm doing 20 minutes of calf work every damn day. So I don't specifically train calves, but for those who are worried about their calf size and if I train calves, should I train them or not, I recommend train them. For sure, train them 100%. If you feel that they're not where you want them to be, then train them. Again, it's a genetic thing. You're not gonna make your calves go from, I don't know, if you're a grown ass man and your calves are 12 inches and you're like, man, I need my calves to be the same size as my bicep because Arnold Schwarzenegger says that your neck and your biceps and your calves should all be the same, and you sit there and you sit in a calf machine forever, they might grow. They might grow an inch. I don't know. They might. But it's always beneficial to train them when you can, right? Just to make things complete. Again, don't do what I do in terms of my calves. Do what you need to do for your calves. If I say I don't train calves, that doesn't mean, hey man, John doesn't train calves, don't worry about training calves. Chris Bumstead doesn't like training calves, I'm not training calves. No. That's preference for me. I'm saying I don't train calves because of what my lifestyle looks like. I'm basically doing calves most of the time anyway. I don't specifically sit in a machine and do calves. Do I think you should specifically sit in a machine and do calves? 100%. I definitely do think you should do that for sure. For you beginners out there or even intermediate, if you feel like your calves aren't where you want them to be, train them. If you're training your calves like all hell so you can get better marking on a bodybuilding stage, don't. I'm just letting you know. Because there are a hell of a lot of bodybuilders on stage that hardly have any calves that judges are not sitting there and be like, ah man, his calves, they suck. Sorry, last call out. No, I haven't seen anybody get marked down to this day because of their calves. Just haven't. That's my take on it from the bodybuilding world or the Matrix.
Did they say bent over row?
No.
Bent over row.
Okay.
That'll help like stability, like core as well.
And next up, bent over rows. Remember, Chris had added the deadlifts, well as pull-ups, but to really finish off your back, you need some kind of exercise where you're pulling a bar towards your body. Chris chooses the bent over barbell roll. For me, because I have L4, L5 herniated discs, it's very difficult for me to do bent over exercises. For example, very difficult for me to do conventional deadlifts, bending over, doing squats, good mornings, and so on. And so for me personally, I would not do the bent over row. I have even a difficult time doing a seated row. I much prefer a chest supported seated row or a T-bar row. And that pad on the chest, that supports my lower back, prevents me from getting injured. And when doing T-bar rows, I often start with a very wide grip, pronated, followed by a closer grip, pronated, and finishing off with a neutral grip, pulling the bar to my chest.
So when it comes to like the entire back, and people kind of miss this, I like doing some non-chest supported movements. Look, again, I have arthritis in my L4 and L5, and I got osteophytes sitting in my sciatic nerve. So there are some issues I have with my lower back. The problem with when it comes to people in their lower backs is a lot of time it's core activation. being in a hinge position and not activating your core, you're putting your lower back in jeopardy. So when it comes to actual development, when you're looking at like bodybuilding in terms of like, you know, development for the entire back, the erectors are part of that back. So when you see bodybuilders do their back double biceps or back lat spread, and they do the Christmas tree, and then it pops up and you see that like that crispy pop up right there, you want to add in some type of movement that isn't chest support, because when you do chest supported, well, chest support is great, I do it as well too, having something in there without chest support is going to challenge your erectors. Now, I'm not saying that you should do things that are challenging erectors to put them in harm's way. Again, you don't have to load things as much. When you're doing a bent over row, you're mainly targeting your lats, obviously. You know, the lats, traps, rhomboids, you know, rear delts, they're all engaged in helping the retraction of the scapula, but keeping your body in an erect position, your lower back or your erectors are basically in a static hold or an isotonic hold or isometric or isotonic contraction. Isotonic basically means like if I'm holding my bicep like this and not moving anything, that's an isotonic contraction, or a static hold, right? This would be an isometric contraction when it's moving. So put it this way, when you're rowing bent over, you're doing isometric contractions. Your lower back or your erector is sitting in there and the muscles are doing this and they're firing off and they're holding yourself in position and they're creating stability and they're working as well too. So it's a good movement to do to add to the entire back. So I like that movement with Chris. He didn't designate, he didn't really specify whether or not if it's a bent over barbell, dumbbell, or whatever. I suggest, guys, do the one that's best for you. Like, guys, if you're at a gym, I would say, like, if you're doing a bent over row, for me, I like using the Stiff Machine for doing a bent over barbell row. So again, it's what you connect with that means the most.
Probably like a hanging leg raise, just to make sure your core is getting hit and you're not like...
And next up, Chris chooses a hanging leg raise to work his core, make sure he doesn't screw up his lower back. In my younger days, when I thought I was a fitness model, posing for bodybuilding magazines and so on, they'd always ask me to do the hanging leg raise.
So I agree with the movement. Again, I want this to be specific on making these things make sense. Let me tell you the reason why hang knee raises or any kind of leg lifting movement is beneficial. Number one, guys, when we're trying to like contract or we're trying to like control our TVA, any type of core movement we do or we're lifting our lower body is going to target that much more. But we have to make sure we don't make the one mistake that Greg is kind of making in this video. If you see Greg when he's doing it, he's only really getting his hip flexors up. You want to make sure that the hips flex. You don't want to just do a bunch of basically hip flexor exercise where you're just like raising your knees up and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, my hip flexors, they're gassed, but your core really isn't as gassed. You want to make sure that if you're doing a hanging knee raise, hanging leg raise, if you're in the, you know, captain's chair, or you're on the ground doing leg lifts or V-sits or whatever, that you're making sure that your hips or your lower back, I would say your lumbar is flexing to make sure that that's what happens. Because again, when it comes to your core flexes the spine. So you want to make sure that your lower back does flex and come up, because that's what's going to actually target your core. And again, this movement or movement pattern is going to be really beneficial for you guys out there to have the stamina or the muscle endurance to be able to hold in your core, to be able to pull it in, and it's going to help your performance as well too. The stronger your TVA is, the stronger your core is, the stronger your torso is. So when you're loading your spine, say doing squats or you're doing pull-ups or any movement, having a strong core is going to go a long way. It's not just to be able to turn it on and look good, it's to increase your overall athletic performance when you're in the gym or when you're doing functional movements or anything or any day-to-day life for that matter.
This is a tough one. I think I'm trying to like focus on either lateral raises or like a overhead tricep extension. 'Cause I haven't had a lot of like specific triceps. I would probably do lateral raises just to get some meaty delts over.
And last but not least, Chris is trying to pick between lateral raises as well as his triceps. He says he hasn't done a lot of triceps exercises, but I would definitely disagree. The incline dumbbell press, the close grip bench press, as well as the overhead dumbbell shoulder press, clearly going to work the triceps. And so, great final choice for Chris Bumstead. Who doesn't want to have barn door wide shoulders? Give you that illusion of a wider than last time X frame. And so everybody knows doing side laterals a great exercise to build wide capped delts.
So really good last one, lateral raises. Again, another movement pattern. You guys can do lateral raises with dumbbells, with machine, with the cables. Definitely something that's going to help, you know, build the entire shoulder, right? So also when it comes to it, again, looking back at his list, and I have to a little disagree with Greg on certain things. Again, when it comes to bench press, you know, dumbbell press, overhead dumbbell press, the triceps are involved. 100% they are involved, but they're not the targeted one exactly, right? So to kind of couple in your tricep work with your primary movers, as it being a secondary muscle to help aid that movement, the only movement that he had here that I would say is tricep specific and a really good one was a close grip bench press. So this entire list is great, absolutely great. Again, you guys make decision for yourself in terms of take the exercise that he has used. Remember, understand that those top 10 are just movement patterns that can be substituted for any movement that you want to do. So when it comes to him doing incline dumbbell, it can be incline machine. When it comes to close grip bench, it could be maybe dips. When it comes to dumbbell shoulder press, maybe is machine press. Again, when it comes to say squats with a Smith machine, you can do goblet, you can do front squat, you can do half squat. Again, pick the movement that you connect with the best, and that's it. Anyway guys, that is it for the video. If you guys want me to do more videos like this, let me know in the comment section below. Give me names, give me people, give me topics. I'll do it right away, guys. Anyway guys, until next time, you know what it is. Iron sharpens iron, progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.